Space Action Podcast. With your hosts, Chris Carson and D.C. and Shama.
Welcome to Space Action Podcast, a division of Space Action Heroes, a webcomic you can find at spaceactionheroes.com. I'm Chris Carson.
And I'm DC and Shama.
Oh, hey, DC.
Oh, how's it going? Carson's back in the house.
I'm back. No more solo podcast. Well, no more, but no solo podcast this week. Because I'm here, and we're talking about
Avengers Endgame. You need at least two people to talk about this fucking much movie.
It's true. Cue clip.
Thanos did exactly what he said he was going to do. He wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
We lost. All of us. We lost friends. We lost family. We lost a part of ourselves. This is the fight of our lives.
This is going to work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
Listen how much movie that was.
That was a lot of movie.
That was at least like 2 bags of movie.
That was 3 hours worth of content. Well, 2 hours 45 and 15 minutes of credits.
Did it go by quickly for you?
It did.
Right?
It went really fast.
Yeah.
It was well, just to get right off. Like, I guess, should we avoid spoilers or should we just?
Let's go spoiler for a bit and then we'll warn people when we're diving into it.
Okay. Because it's hard to talk about this without.
Yeah, like anything past the first 15 minutes without even that.
Even
actually,
that's a spoiler.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess just overall, generally speaking, I enjoyed the film. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. I liked Infinity War more. Infinity War felt more focused. It felt tighter. This was a little all over the map. A lot of lulls in the narrative.
With that, yeah.
Even though it did pass relatively quickly, I did find myself for the first 45 minutes a little bored. I did.
See, I like the dark and depressing, so that first 45 hour, that it's almost like this somber meditation of like the compromises of loss. I was like, this is amazing.
Well,
like,
no,
I want a whole phase of just people
just
fucking
that.
broken and wandering around this wasteland of a world. It was so bleak.
I think what it wasn't like just general boredom. It was like watching a stage play because the actors were really knocking it out of the park with their interactions with each other. They know these characters for so long. I just felt the pacing. I guess maybe just where they decided to put the scenes, which scenes came after which scene. Because a lot of those scenes you could have plucked out and put in any place, any order. So I was finding myself a little wandering on the technicalities. I always am a slave to the technicalities.
Fair. That's why you watch movies.
And I was just getting a little like, could have trimmed that a little, could have trimmed this a little. I was getting a little, but then once the story kicked in, I wasn't thinking about that anymore.
Sure.
I was just focused on what was happening.
That was just them putting the ball on the T stand and like gearing up. Like the
Yeah.
second they cue the theme and everything, like, oh, this is where we're going?
This is happening.
I remember I turned to my buddy Drew at that point. I'm like, I am in right now. My seatbelt is buckled and tightened. Like, this is so ridiculous.
What's he
but
say?
I'm
Cursey Captain America, let's go get this son of a bitch. He's got quite the foul mouth now.
I mean, wouldn't you if everybody fucking died? I love that one line where Rhodey's like, why don't we just... And he mimics it just strangling a baby Thanos. I was like, they've all... I can't blame them. He is worse than Hitler at this point. Like, they're all...
I forgot about that moment.
Yeah! So...
But again, maybe we should just...
But just to wrap up, spoiler free.
Yeah.
And then we get to a third act, which I thought was just the most fulfilling way. Like, I was like, I don't know how else you're going to bring this to us, a satisfying landing. But that ending to me was just like, you kind of... Infinity War kind of locked in a little bit more. I'm like, oh, that's why you left it on that cliffhanger. Because you wanted that moment. I totally get it now. I felt Infinity War was kind of... I remember the first, thinking about when we talked about it on the first time on the podcast.
Which has now been a year this podcast has been going.
That's we've been saying it's been a fucking year.
Our second episode was Infinity War.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I remember being so like, what the fuck? There was no character interaction, and there was no.
Between Tony and Captain America.
Yeah, but like now I kind of get the Russo brothers Avengers movie. They really do sacrifice character reintroduction for plot. Cap sees Tony, and they're like, okay, moving along. Like we just said, we have shit to do. We have 5 hours worth of movie we have to cram in 2
Everything's
flicks.
got to be crammed in.
So I kind of was a little bit more forgiving of it this time around, and I forgot my original point, but
Well, Cap, I guess there's no spoiler since if you've seen the trailer, let's just not spoil anything outside the trailer.
yeah, they fist bump or some shit in the trailer.
So Tony and Cap obviously meet up and they see each other again, but I thought they felt like a couple that had broken up seeing each other again.
Yeah.
So it wasn't over the top, it wasn't ridiculous, it was just sort of like,
I didn't expect it. I thought it'd be a little bit more, oh shit, you're alive, but I kind of like the way you're right. It was just kind of a couple being like,
yeah.
we're back to where we were last time we saw you.
We have a lot of fixing to do.
Yeah.
But, and I guess another spoiler-free thing is overall, which I mentioned earlier, that I felt, it's a little complaint against the Russo brothers. And again, I don't want to come off as curmudgeon-y, because I did enjoy the movie quite a bit. But the Russo brothers have no real sense of style. Like, there's nothing, that's a wrong term. They have no, what's the word I'm looking for here? Every movie the Russo brothers makes feels like they're just copying another person's movie. Like, they have no signature style of the Russo brothers.
Okay.
And I'll say that for, my example was Captain America Winter Soldier, and everyone, I myself included, love Winter Soldier, but I feel like if you take Captain America out of the equation, it's a pretty lackluster Tom Clancy movie.
Right.
But the surprise of, this is a comic book movie that's a Tom Clancy movie? And the Russo brothers seem to know how, because this movie almost felt like they were remaking in a lot of ways, just in the sense of the action beats, the points that were hit by the characters, culminating and then breaking apart, etc., were all the same beats from Infinity War. So it was almost like they remade Infinity War, editing wise and pacing wise, and when, like, the music cues up and the person shows up at this moment in the fight, and it was exactly the same as Infinity War.
Sure.
So I feel the Russo brothers are, they're very technical. They understand how to put a movie together, but I don't think they have much of a sense of style.
I think that's why they work for these last two, though.
Because they know how to push everything.
They can look at 20 movies and be like, okay, we'll take a little bit of this. We'll copy the Guardians, how they did this. Technically, they did work on Community and Arrested Development, in which they had to step in a pretty set template. You can't look at season 4 of Community. You can't just walk in and try to make that shit.
I'd rather not look at that.
Exactly.
Ever again.
Exactly. So I feel like that's why they work so well. They're like, hey, Winter Soldier, you're right, was exactly like a Jack Ryan movie, but Captain America was in it. You guys can source all these movies into a finale for this
Smush
thing.
them all together.
And like that movie does feel like a weird mix of Ragnarok, Guardians, and Iron Man. And like you're like, oh no, this all feels like they should belong in this universe. And you're absolutely right. I think that it's intentional. I think when this movie comes out on video, you're going to see a lot of side-by-side comparisons of the two movies.
The same beats are hit.
I think it's intentional because, like, especially like
the mirror one, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
But like executed well. I thought the exact same thing where George Lucas just shrugs and people don't know what we're talking about.
Ant-Man's a funnier character than we're used to.
They were some making of way back in the day where George Lucas was writing The Phantom Menace and he's highlighting the lines and saying how, in this interaction, I think it was them going to the club in episode 2, was it?
Oh yeah, that's when he cuts the guy.
And he's just like, it's just like
when they death sticks.
Yeah, god damn it. So it's just like when they walked in the cantina in Star Wars. So it's like poetry, but
it rhymes.
It rhymes, echoes, and he just shrugs.
Yeah.
Like I guess, and everyone in the room awkwardly laughs. Like, yeah, you really don't know what the fuck's going on. But I feel like what's the name of the writers? Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, they kind of get it, and the Russos get it visually. Like, there's two shots.
And Alan Silvestri, too.
Oh, Jesus,
you have to give him a lot of credit, because he mushed together everyone's music.
Yeah, really well.
People were complaining about the music, myself included, about the Marvel music. It seems they listened.
Yeah, because they got the themes in there.
Sorry.
I really dug, like the two I think of that are really distinct are, there's a panning shot of everybody being decimated in Wakanda and outside the Avengers. Oh, I should probably, spoilers. Okay, now we have to say, from this point onwards.
Just so you know, so you're not angry, that was from Infinity War, we were just saying. When everyone turned to dust.
And okay, and then that's where I have to cut you off. So, and you get 5 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
Everyone gets decimated in the Avengers compound with Thanos' army.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same panning shot. There's even a guy in the foreground who's standing in the same spot.
It literally was.
The 360 shot of Thanos sitting down is exactly the same of Infinity War, but at the end of it, he sighs and turns to dust.
Yeah.
And I can't. One of the best villain deaths ever. Just giving
Dustin?
him, give him dignity.
But I
like
felt-
he just watches his army fall apart, and he's just like, he doesn't freak out like a bitch. He's just like, fuck.
My counterpoint
Motherfucker.
to that is that it wasn't the Thanos. It wasn't the Thanos that we grew to know in Infinity War. So I felt that undermined it a little, to be honest with you, because it's like we went on this journey with this character. He suffered. He sacrificed everything to do what he thought was right, and then was unceremoniously killed off in the first 5 minutes, which was great. But then the Thanos from the past stepped in, and he didn't have any of that history.
And that's what I liked about it, though.
I just felt less of a connection to him.
I think that was intentional again, because that Thanos to me read more villainous. He's carrying around this massive sword. He's covered in blood all the time.
How's that Thanos able to go up against the Avengers? He had no Infinity Stones.
He's really strong like the Hulk, but yeah, maybe
Right?
he's really good at
He's
fighting.
really good?
He's that vicious of a dude.
Because I thought he killed or punched the Hulk out in Infinity War because he already had a stone.
No, I think he's just really
He's just a big purple.
badass. Because aren't the Titans almost gods essentially?
I guess so.
Because at one point he pulls a fucking Infinity Stone out of the gauntlet to punch Captain Marvel, and it doesn't hurt him at all.
It doesn't hurt him at all. But then also Hawkeye held an Infinity Stone. They broke a lot of their own rules when they had the same set, so they didn't want to build a new set. It was a little. I know it's like symmetry and like poetry, but the Scarlet or the Black Widow. Hawkeye.
You're right, yeah.
It was just the same scene again.
Maybe on Vormir you can hold a new... Because how else are you going to get it out of there?
But then, if you can't get out of there, wouldn't that be part of the keeping it secret?
Also, was he just holding it when he got back from the time travel mission?
I think so.
Okay. Well, listen, that. I'll bring that up later. That's kind of where we have to, like, same with the time travel, you have to get into, like, the
nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Well, let's go... let's not jump all over, though. Let's actually...
Let's go through the movie?
Go through the movie.
Okay.
So it starts with them minutes almost, it seems, after the end of Infinity War, maybe a few days after Infinity War.
Oh, it starts with Hawkeye. That scene.
Oh, right.
Executed.
The very first scene.
Oh.
Hawkeye's family getting snapped
So
away.
I saw it twice. On the second time I saw it, my audience was far more docile. The first night we went, it was like,
Was it Thursday? The first night?
Thursday night. Yeah, it was like the final game of, like, the UFC. It was fucking fantastic. People were losing their shit. So just like Last Jedi had that perfect silence when Holdo flies through the Star Destroyer, that whole opening scene, there's no score. It's just stark sound.
Yeah.
So you got to hear everyone be like, fuck! Like, whenever his family would slowly... It just made it more gutting. Like, if I watched that by myself, I would be like, oh, that sucks. But, like, watching it with, like, an audience, it landed so well. I thought that was a great way to start the movie of just, like, yeah, it still sucks for these guys. Like, we're starting on such a down note.
You know what I just thought of? Why was it daytime? Wasn't Thanos in Africa in the middle of the day?
Yeah. Maybe
It
the decimation, because it also happened on Titan. Remember, because I thought about this too. Also, you see Nick Fury die. I think it just, maybe the decimation took like 4 days. And people were just disappearing in chunks.
Or they just didn't want to shoot at night because it costs more.
That too. And that, and also probably no one thought of the continuity whatsoever.
Anyways, I don't want to come off maybe I'm just really tired and grumpy right now. I'm like, daylight, but...
Because that scene wouldn't have worked as well as night. I was like, why are they playing? Why is he teaching her to fucking shoot arrows at night? That's fucking
I guess
creepy.
They could have been around dinner table or something, but that would
maybe it was dinner.
Awkward too.
What was dinner?
Maybe he just has really big floodlights set up all around his yard.
Maybe it's like 4 a.m. and they're having a picnic.
Yeah.
And it's creepy and weird.
Or it's summer, so it's like it's the longest day of the year. And Thanos snapped it in the morning. And
so it was like, 11, 10 o'clock in Africa.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure.
There you go.
Okay. Why not?
There we go. Solved. Time zones have not defeated Endgame today.
I'm going to get started on the Infinity Gauntlet later, but that's another point of contention I had of the whole plot of Peter Dinklage having to build out of a dying sun in a gauntlet.
Tony's really good.
Even teasing the other gauntlet was at the place. Remember when Thor got there, they saw the right-handed one. So I thought, they're going to have to go get that one. But
or the one from Asgard.
Right.
Wow.
The fake that Kate Blanchett knocks over.
But
Anyway.
again, in those 5 years, Tony got really good. He was way more relaxed at the cottage. He spent more time he built at least 6 more suits. Like that one was another new one.
That was another new one.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Another, what do you call it in Avengers?
I call it the reboot suit because he taps it like the reboot logo.
But he said because remember Hulk
nanobots?
nanosuiters. It's nanotech. You like it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Which also I like the way that played in. I was like, why nanotech? Why are you going with the black? I didn't really like the Black Panther teeth collar thing.
I guess because Wakanda's technology got out to the world.
And so now Tony has one.
Access to
but
it.
using it as a plot device, we'll get to it later. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's... Now I'm a little bit more... Again, that's one thing from Infinity War. I'm like, I'm more forgiving of the nanobot technology because there's a point to it now.
There is a point. But going through it,
so then
Hawkeye's
after that,
family disappears, and then it's the Avengers. The post-credit scene from Captain Marvel was them using the Avengers using Nick Fury's pager to call her.
So I guess we're to assume Danvers was just like, "What do you need?" They're like, "We need
go
Tony
get
Stark."
Tony. Yeah. So it just starts with Tony Stark. Actually, it does cut to him.
How great! I could have watched a whole movie of just Nebula hanging out
with Tony playing that football game
so
where you flick the paper through.
I love that they were just best friends.
Yeah,
it just proves Tony Stark is so charming. He just can win anyone over.
He's like, no, you don't grab it. You don't grab it.
Yeah,
you just flick it through. Okay.
Good sport.
Yeah,
they shake hands. I'm having fun, and I'm like, that is adorable.
And then she gives him the food. When he offers her the food and Nebula hands the food back to him.
By the way, anyone else notice that Tony's dressed exactly like Super Mario in that shot?
Was he?
Yeah, he's wearing all red with like bluish overalls.
I didn't even notice.
And he's got kind of the mustache. And I was like, is he wearing white gloves? Like, someone had to have noticed that he's dressed like Super Mario.
We got a Mario situation happening here.
Anyways, besides the point, I just thought it was so strange.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I wonder where he got the suit. Because wasn't he in his little hoodie on
I'm guessing Quill just had clothes laying around.
Oh, those were Peter Quill's clothes.
Yeah, because one of the leather jackets he was wearing looked definitely very Quill-esque.
And Peter Quill's gotten pretty chunky, so
there's old Quill clothes.
Old Quill clothes.
Yeah.
But so then he's about to die. Tony's about to die. He's all emaciated. They actually CGI'd him down to look all tiny.
I love that. Post-rescue Tony is just 1994 and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
he's just a
heroin.
belligerent.
Yeah. Fucked up, yanking out his IV.
You could tell they're like Robert, 94. He's like, got it.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm with you. I think they officially now have Marvel Studios has acknowledged the television shows because Howard Stark's butler
Jarvis.
I
thought that was very cool.
Was from not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Agent Carter.
Because I guess the only crossover is Coulson in Agent Carter?
He's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that goes the other way. They pulled him from the cinematic universe. The cinematic universe has never acknowledged the ABC shows
so
or the
Peggy's
Netflix
the
shows.
only thing
that
kind of loops back over.
But still, again, a TV show that took from the cinematic universe.
Okay.
The movies never reference the TV shows. Vice versa all the time.
See, and I bet you that was like a director I feel like that was a director decision. You think?
I wonder. I don't know.
Because they see, again, the Russos, they're like, we've worked in television. We know how this shit works, how to do fan service well. I imagine, little shit like, I'm going to get let's get the Elder back. What's her name? Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Obviously, you knew Pym was going to come back. But there was another one I was like, I think it was probably an outtake of Natalie Portman getting out of bed.
Oh, yeah.
There's
or
no
a stunt double with her face CGI.
there's no way they got her back for that 2 second.
Shot. And she wasn't at the funeral at the end, so.
No. But I feel like they know how to be pepper in, no pun intended. They're the cameos that aren't too ham-fisted. That you're like, okay, now that did kind of having Jarvis in there. You do know who.
But he's the only character from a TV show to have ever shown up in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Only one. So, and I think that it might be because Disney apparently is being very aggressive, wanting cinematic universe characters for the Disney streaming service television shows, not original characters, not Daredevil, not Netflix characters or ABC characters. They want the movie characters for the streaming service. And I don't know how thrilled Kevin Feige. He doesn't seem particularly upbeat about it because he's been running such a tight ship.
Yeah.
And now it's about to go comics in the 90s because there's a Scarlet Witch show coming out. There's a Vision show.
Have you not heard what it's called? It's one show called WandaVision.
It's called WandaVision?
I shit you not.
Is it a sitcom?
It sounds like... of all the names y'all came up with in the writer's room...
WandaVision. There's a Loki show. I'm sure that's going to be called Loki. I don't know. Is it going to be... Do you think they're going to... they made a point of talking about multiverses.
Yep. Him disappearing with the Tesseract? 100%.
So
that's the jumping off point for the Loki show. I guarantee it.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, that was totally it.
That's... I'm a little worried because Disney Well, what is it? Someone once described it. I remember what online commentator once described it as they're like white trash winning the lottery. Like white trash, when they win the lottery, they don't, invest and sit on it and live off the interest. They go out and they buy yachts and boats and gold watches. Disney got Star Wars, and they were like white trash winning the lottery. They should have waited a few years and had a movie every 3 years.
Maybe planned out a trilogy.
Put
before you started filming them, maybe.
Right, put Solo and Rogue One on the streaming service. As a TV, right? Keep them out of theaters. Just make it for the, what are they called? The episode movies? Is that what they're called?
The stories.
The actual ones. Episode 7, 8. What do they call those?
The saga, the Skywalker
saga. And then, because, again, I'm off the rails here, but we're now being told in advertising that, like, the end of the saga. It's like, the saga started 4 years ago? This is like, really?
Yeah, it's kind of just, I mean, how else, but like, again, I said it before, I'll say it again, this franchise is living off the remains of the originals.
Picking the dead.
It's trying to do its own new thing, but you can really, when you start to see how this I really feel like episode 9 should just be called Star Wars As I Was Saying, because you could really feel them just being like, we had no plan for this, we shot shit in the air and saw what stuck, like. Anyways, that aside, Tony comes back.
Well, I just want to say, my point was that I'm worried Disney's going to do that with Marvel now. It almost seems like they let them have their space for their first 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's their biggest thing ever now. Their number one moneymaker.
Oh, I feel you're going to see a massive change in tone from here on out.
And just so many interconnected stories that you're going to have to... It's going to be like comics in the 90s now, where you can't just read a single storyline. You got to read 20... It's like doing homework.
Sure.
To know all of the characters and where they are and what they are to get to the main story. I'm worried that, like, the new Avengers, which I'm sure it will be called in 5 years, is going to rely on 6 movies, 2 TV series, and a made-for-TV movie to know what's going on.
They bought Star Wars because they learned from Star Wars. That's exactly what Lucas did with the originals, and actually the prequels to the nth degree, like 2 Clone Wars TV shows, a bunch of comics and all that. So they were like, dude, they're not subtle about it. They constantly reference the Star Wars trilogy and these Marvel movies. Yeah. They're like, we are the children of this franchise. We learned and realized how to engineer this so it can last decades. You know what I'm saying?
Their parent company fucked up Star Wars.
Yeah. And then they amalgamated them.
I can't wait to see the Star Wars Marvel movie crossover.
Oh, dude.
They've already done it in the comics. Might as well.
Oh, man.
Yeah, why not?
You show me Boba Fett fighting Iron Man, I'm like, that's worth $15. I'll go watch it.
Wait, is Lady Iron Man, can she be called the Iron Lady?
Sure.
Because that would be great.
Sure, yeah. And
CGI young Margaret Thatcher's face.
Yeah. And then she fights Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
Who beats her Iron Curtain face into the ground.
She's dead, right?
Oh, Phasma? God, thank Christ, yes.
Is she? Gwendolyn Christie?
You heard me, Thatcher.
Take that. Oh, no, I meant Gwendolyn Christie. Is Phasma's dead?
I thought you meant the actress. I was no, she's still alive.
She got unceremoniously whacked into a pit.
But
who knows?
You knows. Like, you give her a scar, she could be alive.
Face brand. Exactly. We're way off the rails. We're not even past the opening scene yet. We haven't even gotten to the opening title card of Avengers Endgame. So, Carol Danvers brings back Tony Stark in the ship, and they're all like, hey, Tony, what's up? We gotta go get Thanos. We read that he's on a planet.
And he's like, fuck you.
He's like, fuck all of you. Yeah. You weren't there for me when I needed you. And he storms out.
Passes the fuck out. He collapses. And that's it for him in the first bit. You're like, oh, shit.
And then they go to his, I love Thanos off picking beans and making stew.
Yeah.
It was pretty great. He's all fucked up because he destroyed the Infinity Stones with the Infinity Stones.
Everyone in my theater laughed when it just cut to him in his, like, at-home t-shirt. I'm like, I have that t-shirt. Yeah. That's so funny. Thanos, a god, has that t-shirt.
Yeah. Picking his big space beans.
I thought, but like, in terms of giving that dude a satisfying ending and appeasing the audience of who just wanted to see him fucking killed off, I'm like, cutting his head off mid-sentence after he's like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. That's like, what's his face at the end of Breaking Bad, the Nazi, when Walt just shoots him right in the face.
Oh, yeah. No, wait.
Yeah.
I know where I can get the...
You're just like, I respect that villain now a little bit more for just, like, going out like that.
Which character? Oh, it was Rocket that was like, what did you do? Yeah. Rocket said that.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Build-A-Bear said that.
Yeah, Build-A-Bear.
Honestly, up until this moment, I thought you were Build-A-Bear.
And then that's when 5 years later.
The title card, and then 5 years later. Yeah. Or no, sorry. Title card was before they went.
That's let's go get this son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And
I like
Thor
that
cut his head off.
kind of artsy shot of just Cap's eye going wide as they go through the portal.
Oh.
Of just a man from World War II being like,
Yeah.
what is my
Yeah.
life?
Well, he has been to space. Hasn't been to space.
I love Rhodey's face. Don Cheadle pulls this thing where he like, scrunches his face up. What the fuck does that even mean? Are you kidding me?
I was really hoping they would get to go. That Cap would get to go to space in this one, and he did.
Yeah,
got to go.
I like that shot. Like it was just like after this movie, I can retire. I've been
Yeah.
to fucking space for Christ's
Yeah.
sakes.
And then basically it's an hour of them kind of being upset over the events that happened, which is great. It's well acted. My only
really
complaints
well
were the
done.
pacing a little bit, but that's an editor's problem, no, not the actors or the writer.
And just how bittersweet that moment when they go to Tony's, they're like, "Oh, we might have a way to do this."
Oh, you see, he has a daughter, and you're like, oh, he's not going to want to do this.
Oh God,
He's absolutely not gonna wanna fucking do
It was
this.
absolutely gut, and you can't blame him. You're like,
Yeah.
you moved on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you want
It's
the
been
guy to
5
do?
years.
Oh, that was, and like at the same time, I'm thinking she's gonna lose her dad. Like at that point, like there's no way he doesn't fucking die.
Right, yeah.
I was like, no.
I wasn't sure. Like, I honestly didn't know, because I knew they're going to retire Robert Downey Jr., but I didn't know if he was just going to sail off into the sunset.
Sure.
Or die.
Or
I
stay-
didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And they ended up, spoilers, they ended up in one of the it was pretty gut-wrenching, because his final words were, "I am Iron Man." But then he was brain dead. He was like, they were actually like holding up his face and like, look at me, look at
Remind
me.
me of
He's like,
Spock in
yeah,
Rathacon.
it was very and they even signed off at the end, like
Star Trek.
6.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, he was just, I think they just wanted to make sure his last words were,
I
"I am
am
Iron Man."
And it was fitting because, like, I love that Pepper looks at them because, you know, his whole thing was he wanted to build a suit of armor around the world to keep everybody safe.
like, "We're safe,
And she
we're
gives
safe."
him, yes. Oh, I'm say what you will about Gwyneth Paltrow, but she's tearing up as she's saying it.
Yeah.
And she's just like, "We're safe, Tony." And, like, that's it. Like, you're like, literally his arc reactor turns off.
It goes down, yeah.
And I love that there was no Foley or, like, ew. It just switches off.
It's just silent.
It's, so well done. Such a
then,
fitting ending for that character, dude.
Friday. It's just like, what is her one line in the
It's
whole
like
movie?
life's vital signs
Vital signs are low.
critical or
Critical.
something. Oh,
But before all that happens, they go on a ridiculous
I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a
heist.
shit. Can I say I didn't give a shit about Rescue, about Gwyneth Paltrow's suit until they were back to back in that one shot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's probably my new favorite sci-fi couple after Han and Leia. That is awesome.
Thank God the couple's now over.
Right, they got one good shot in though,
That's-
dude.
yeah.
It was pretty beautiful.
So do you think she'll be the new Iron?
Oh, 100%.
But do you think, like, you have, like, looking at all the angles of why this is coming to an end, one of the big parts was the massive paychecks going to the original 4 Avengers.
Well,
I
I
think they're
could
gonna want to
see
pay
her.
Gwyneth Paltrow?
I could see her going the way of like Tony's role in Homecoming, where she pops in once in a while, like you kids stay out of
Hey,
trouble, and she
yeah.
pops out or some
Didn't he
shit.
get like $20 million for Homecoming?
Okay, bad example.
he fucking put him over a barrel for Homecoming. But yeah, so I don't know.
Time
there's
heist.
Not a lot of plot points to hit. Like just little moments.
Time heist.
I was very surprised by Smart Hulk, even though he wasn't
So
gray.
funny.
He should have been gray,
Right.
but he wasn't.
There was a
But he
couple
was-
shots where I noticed the second time
was a
around.
little-
because of the lighting, they grade him down a little
little bit?
Yeah, I think to reference him a little more subtly than Deadpool going completely gray at the end
for
of
the
Deadpool
dust.
2.
But that was the thing, because they shot these movies at the same time. They didn't finish production on Infinity War and then start production on Endgame. It was all shot at once. So a lot of the through lines that just stalled out surprised me. And one of the big ones was we never got an explanation why Hulk wouldn't Hulk out in Infinity War. Why he was going, no! It's like, all right, you big green asshole, I'll do it myself. We get that one line of the Hulk saying, like, Hulk failed and then Banner failed, so I went to the lab and I put them together, best of both worlds. But it doesn't really explain why
He wouldn't come
why
out.
Hulk wouldn't come out.
I
There's a
think
few
your
things like that.
your theory holds up, man. That's
He
because he
got
got his
his ass
ass
kicked.
handed to him, so he just doesn't want to come out again.
I was
so that's
hoping-
that's why the Hulk would think he failed. He's like, I finally met a dude I couldn't beat the shit out of.
Even though Thor knocked him out in Ragnarok.
Thor, no, I just watched Ragnarok. Hulk wins that fight in the arena. He technically
No, 'cause
Goldblum shocks him, but
Shocks him. But no, Thor doesn't get him down. I guess he doesn't knock him right out. Though.
Yeah.
Not unconscious.
yeah, he doesn't necessarily win.
True. Has Hulk ever been knocked unconscious?
No,
I guess not.
No, because like I rewatched because it was kind of fun. before the movie came out, I was gonna watch them in order, but I decided to watch them in the order of how much I liked them. So I saved Iron Man for last and worked my way down. Reverse. Sorry.
What was your first one then?
I think what did I watch before Guardians?
It was Captain Marvel, wasn't it?
No, I think I started. No. Well, I did. That was in between. It was in the middle of it because it came out. because I started a while back.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I've been just watching like 20 minutes here or there. This
Getting
is
through it.
You're getting a window into my life. I eat dinner and watch 20 minutes of a movie. I'm like, anyways, I need to do something else now. But what do you call it? I think it was Winter Soldier. I did the Captain movies because I hadn't seen those in a bit. And then I marathoned the Guardians, which I've never done because
1 and 2?
I haven't seen one in a long time, and I forgot how much I loved it. And the second it was over, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm watching 2."
Yeah.
Because I was drawing at the time. That's what it was. So I had the TV on. I was like, I can just have
Yeah, you
this
got
on in the
the time,
background.
yeah.
They go together like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2
yeah.
in those flicks.
It's gonna be weird to see part 3 is gonna be a little bit more disjointed.
Yeah.
I'm glad Gunn's back. Bravo to Disney for
That's
not
right.
being monsters.
Yeah, and Gamora's conveniently back too. So it's like nothing
though?
ever happened.
I think that's left up to the decision of James Gunn.
I could see Gunn just pulling a move like
Because she
one
should
of
have been snapped out at the end. And then she was part of Thanos' army. She was young Gamora. So when Tony snapped, she should have gone to dust
and they
too.
were searching for her.
And the very final scene of Star-Lord was him searching for him.
There's
just
no
saying,
way they
searching,
don't. That's such an open door. Like I could see Gunn being like, "Fuck it, I have my script written. I'm not going to change it."
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see him being like, "No, that was in there the whole time. Like we've been planning
Yeah.
this for a decade, dude."
I think they set it up so they could go either way depending on where the winds blow.
It's true.
How much is she going to cost?
Right.
How's her schedule, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think Thor will be in Guardians 3?
Oh yeah.
I hope so. I hope
yeah.
they don't just have a line at the beginning, because they do that a lot in Marvel movies, where they set like Thor lost an eye, and then the next movie he gets a fake eye.
Yeah. That's right.
So they
that's right.
tend to just sort of
Leave shit.
Yeah. So I hope he's there, because Chris Hemsworth said he was done with Thor. So
I think he said, didn't after Ragnarok he was like he wanted
Maybe
to
I'm back?
Yeah, because that movie was huge, and that was less than a year ago, wasn't it? It was November last year.
Yeah, it was
so
pretty
like
recent.
I'm sure like after these 2 movies he's like, oh fuck this,
and he gets to play a completely different character. So which brings us to Fat Thor.
I lovingly call him Lebowski Thor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which online rage is now saying that's fat shaming, and
What?
Yeah. Yeah, no. These are we all know that person who looks for the thing to be angry about. That's become the whole fucking world, and so they're the fat shaming thing is.
Do people not understand? Like everyone was doing the polar. Like Nat, who's used to be out in the field beating shit dudes, is stuck behind a desk.
Yeah.
Cap, who's used to being like the hero, is literally like doing a support group. He's not leading people. He's consoling.
And Thor's
survivors.
broken.
And Thor used to be like, we've made a beefcake joke. He walks around with his shirt off,
Yeah.
and more than any other character in this franchise.
And now he's all fat.
That was like
Hanging out with no, it was great.
I agree. Like, I
Yeah.
know we're both like yelling at the same people. Like, how do you get mad about that?
If you're listening, you guys need to get a hobby or something.
Yeah, no, it was about you. The whole fucking movie was about you, dude. The whole fucking time.
But Fat Thor was great. He was so broken and so depressed.
He's
and,
using a Stormbreaker as a bottle
As a
opener.
bottle opener.
It's so tragic.
Yeah.
And also because, everyone has that friend.
Yeah.
Where you go over to your hometown, you see him, and he's still the same guy playing Fortnite, yelling at a 14-year-old.
With Korg.
Hey, man. And he's wearing that Hawaiian shirt's all
Yeah.
ripped on the shoulders.
We're good, man. We're good.
One of the lovely little micro performances I loved is because that's the first time you see Hulk and Thor together since Ragnarok, where they were buddies, is whenever Thor grabs his collar because he says Thanos, he's like, we don't say that name. And
I'm gonna need you to let go of me.
Ruffalo, just that delivery, because he's like, I could kick your ass.
Yeah.
And I need, but he just said, what's he say? He's like,
What
please
does he-
take your hand
Oh
off
yeah,
of me.
but forcibly. He's
Yeah,
like,
he
please take your hand off me.
and he just pulls it off. I'm like, because that moment just hammered it down. I've had that moment with friends where you go down, you're like, okay, buddy, you have to calm down right now.
Bringing it down. Bring it down.
And that's what I think. I love those moments in these movies. Again, what do you call it? The Russos are good at it in Captain America. I want to see him just as a dude, making him a tangible human being. Oh yeah, he's also a superhero. They're good at that. Just seeing like Thor and Hulk were buddies. They went on this adventure, and look, they're having just as a hard time as you and your friend. That was such a real moment. I really enjoyed that.
I found it kind of funny. Like I think it makes it Hulk more innocent in that. This is why we don't get sponsors.
Speaking of green, hey, it's legalized. Fuck it.
That's true. Because Thor was completely only thinking of himself. He never really helped Hulk or Banner. The whole joke in Ragnarok was that he was like, no, when he was Banner, he's like, I love Banner, I hate the Hulk. And when he's Hulk, he's like, oh, Banner's the worst, I love the Hulk. He was just self-serving the whole time. So I love that either it was I can't imagine they would have fucked that up. So I imagine it was showing how innocent Bruce Banner is, how he believes in his friends. He doesn't like to think that he was just being used. 'Cause
Sure.
he was totally being used.
He was totally being used.
In
I
Ragnarok.
think, no pun intended, the Hulk's just a bigger guy than that. He's like, dude, we went through fucking space. We saw
got
some
through it
shit.
together.
Yeah, and now look at you. Like, I'm not gonna fucking hate on you for a grudge from 5 years ago.
No, because he said, I was in a bad place and my friend helped me. And that friend was you. I was like, when?
he got him out of there,
Yes,
and
he did.
he got him
Hulk
to...
seemed pretty happy there.
Yeah.
He did. No,
Yeah.
in Ragnarok.
That's what I mean. When he was fighting that wolf, he was having a good old time.
Yeah.
Until it bit him.
Yeah, it did cause him to bleed a lot of green.
Quite a bit of green.
Time Heist was great. Oh, sorry.
Time Heist was great, but speaking of Time Heist and Ant-Man and Paul Rudd, that fucking scene where they're in the diner and Hulk's like, "You want a picture with Ant-Man?"
Damn, that seemed very improv.
That seemed very, because now they think about Ruffalo and fucking Paul Rudd are that would be hilarious.
As soon as the kid smiled, I was like, "You're laughing at the idea."
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't scripted.
I just love Paul Rudd's reaction, the way he played it. I'm just like, no, it's cool. They don't want a picture.
Just take the goddamn phone.
It was like Wet Hot American Summer. Paul Rudd came out for half a second.
Just a second. Oh, the great thing too about the Ant-Man inclusion in this one is the Avengers theme on the bongos. Have you listened to that listen to the score yet?
No.
There's a point where it's like, I can't even pretend to intimidate bongos, but as they're preparing the heist, it's that like heist music on the bongos from Ant-Man.
That's awesome.
It's the Avengers theme.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's great. No, that whole oh god.
Here we go.
Here he comes.
Yeah, right.
Oh god.
Davies review. Here we go. Let's hear it.
Davey's back. Oh god.
He's like, you guys keep dawdling on Star Wars and other shit. You haven't even fucking gone to the Time Heist yet.
He's just bitching at us for taking too long.
Jesus Christ.
You're like a listener.
What do you think? What do you think of the Time Heist?
It was great. The problem I had a little bit, and again, I'm ripping this off from another review show, but I'm not going to say who, so we don't look too obvious. But he made a really good point. I was like, I want to mention that point, but I won't claim it as my own.
Why don't you just say it?
It's from nah.
No, I said, why don't you just say the thing and not say all of that?
All of that? I'm gonna have to listen to this thing and edit it, aren't I? Anyways, usually in a heist film, they show the heist before the heist as they're planning it. Usually they film it and they show it going well, so you know what their plan is, so that when the actual heist happens, when the plan goes wrong, it's more surprising, I guess, or it's more edge of your seat.
Sure.
Because you know what the plan was supposed to be.
Okay.
This one, you didn't know what their plan was. They just hopped in and went back in time, and so you're like, oh, wait, so Tony Stark's dressed as a security guard, he was just going to grab it from them to distract them by unplugging his heart, like, and then things went wrong when the Hulk jumped out of the stairwell. So I felt, not knowing what the plan was, when factors of the plan fell apart, it wasn't as impactful. Like when Captain America ran into Captain America. You're like, well, did he expect to run into himself?
Sure.
Was he kind of planning that? Was that like a wrench
I
in
didn't
the
bump
plan?
into that. I thought it was like pretty straightforward.
What?
That, like, you know, like the idea of like the whole entire time whenever they were doing, like, whenever, for example, Tony shows up in the security guard outfit, I'm like, weren't you just up on the balcony? Where did you get the outfit? At this point, like, again, this movie feels like to me like Back to the Future 2, where it's like, listen, like there was two scenes I love that I felt really kind of nailed it home for the whole time travel heist thing. The baby scene where they turn Scott Lang into a baby, and the scene where they're talking about strangling baby Thanos. Two baby scenes.
Two baby scenes.
Where they were just literally just talking to the audience. It was very much, you know what it reminded me of? Austin Powers 2, whenever Basil just turns to the camera and goes, and that goes for you too in the audience.
Yeah.
They were literally like, none of this is really gonna make sense.
But like, structurally speaking, for a heist though, you gotta show the heist before you show what goes wrong with the heist.
Right.
Or else you don't have that connection to understand things are going wrong. And all I needed was a 5-minute scene. Because even an Ant-Man does it. Remember? Even Ant-Man does it perfectly. A great heist movie. Not my favorite Marvel, but a great heist movie. They do the whole, like, and then you go here, and then this happens. Even Spider-Man
Homecoming.
Into the Spider-Verse. Remember the plan? It's like grab a bagel, and then go out, and then you see it all go wrong.
Right.
So you're more invested to it. It would have taken 5 minutes, but I guess it was already a 3-hour run.
That's what I'm thinking too. They were just like, listen, you're gonna realize when shit goes wrong when the Hulk punches through a door and knocks Tony Stark out. You know, you know what was kind of great about that? One, redeeming the Cap saying "Hail Hydra" line from that comic line
Oh,
2 years ago.
That people freaked out about that again because they're looking for Rage, but he was brainwashed.
Of course, you knew they were.
of
People
course.
didn't know they were going to back that off, but fanboys freaked the fuck out. Like
I guess
they normally
fanboys
do.
who never read a comic before got upset by it.
Yeah, but I like the way it was. Like it reminded me of like Vinnie Jones saying "I'm the Juggernaut bitch" in X-Men 3, but done tastefully,
But done well.
I'm like, that's how you. Or even Hemsworth in this one saying "We're the Asgardians of the Galaxy."
Yeah, I noticed
think
that.
I think the fans started that.
I think they did too.
So, anyways, I thought that was like, again, this movie's all just fan service, right? So, like, done well.
The final movie.
I loved the one moment, two great moments in that Cap fight. One, that is America's ass line, fucking hilarious.
Staring at his own butt.
It's so,
yeah.
but because you never see Captain America be that guy, just like a little bit egocentric and self-indulgent. You could see him in the last movie being like, "Yeah, I am kind of fucking great."
Can I guess what the other one is? I can do this all day. I know.
No.
That made me laugh so hard.
It's whenever he says to him, "Bucky's alive."
Oh.
And because this is pre-Winter Soldier Cap, and they even make a joke of it. Like Cap says in one of the movies, he said Bucky, and I turned into a kid back in Brooklyn. And it becomes this recurring thing that anyone says fucking Bucky. It's like his Achilles heel.
It's his Martha.
It is. He gets all doe-eyed and they punch him in the maw. So I love that Cap was like, Bucky's alive to himself, and he froze, and he used that opportunity to knock himself out. I laughed my ass off. I'm like, he just used that against himself. That is fucking hilarious.
And I love it too because like I think he did the best job of showing the evolution of his character over 10 years.
Yeah,
because we went from Cap going language to Cap running into younger Cap going, "You got to be shitting me."
That's right. Yeah,
I was like,
fucking great.
Cap, you kiss your mother with that mask?
Oh, that was fucking hilarious.
That
scene that I think about, I liked a lot more. I love the way they mirrored that shot. One of my favorite shots in Winter
Soldier,
Civil War.
Oh,
where it's the opening fight with Crossbones. He falls off a platform. If you break the composition of the shot down, it looks like a series of lines. But you're looking at a canopy above like a loading dock above something else, and he just pops into frame, and like a Plinko chip just goes bang, 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 bang. It's such a good stunt. They did it in this movie where they mirrored it, but the two of them fall down in sync down a stairwell and they bounce around. I was like, maybe they do have a visual style, but like it's like more aesthetic than it is like an overall feel. Yeah.
Speaking of stairs, Hulk going down the stairs. Hulk hates stairs. That's pretty great.
That was great. I loved. I noticed it the second time whenever the Hulk's about to get on. And like they're like, no, Loki's waving at him just to piss him off. He's got the thing on his face, and he's just going like this.
Well, I like seeing the aftermath of that moment.
Yes,
Tony Stark's being like, "All right, we can pose later." Or
yes, we can pose later. Like, why are we just standing here breathing heavily?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
staring at him.
Yeah. Again, that self-referential humor I thought was done pretty well in this one. So, anyways, so we get to the timelines. We unplug. That fucks up.
Hulk goes and talks to
Tilda
Swinton, gets the time stone from her.
We have to further breakdown of now we have to put every stone back exactly where it came from.
Which God knows how Cap did that at the end. How did he get to Vormir?
How do you return a soul stone?
Yeah.
Like, maybe
that's how he gets Gamora and or Scarlet or Black Widow back.
That would make sense. That would make sense.
But before that, it does fuck up because Hulk knocks Iron Man down, and Loki takes off with the Tesseract, the springboard for I'm sure the Loki series.
Yep.
And so they realize, and they do have the rule that they only have one-way trip or a two-way trip for each person, but they know where they can, if they go back in time to the 70s to the secret base from, again, a lot of Winter Soldier references in this movie.
I think it's because they were like,
the Russo brothers.
That was their first one.
Their movie. They have to go back to that base in the 70s to get Pym particles so they can travel back again. And the Tesseract.
Because it would have been found by Howard Stark at that point.
In the 70s.
Because Cap would have gone in the ice.
What happened to the Tesseract in Captain Marvel? I don't remember. I know the cat swallows it at the end.
Yeah, so the cat swallows it, it coughs it up.
Where was it?
It was 1996, I think, at that point, at S.H.I.E.L.D. office.
And the cat just grabbed it?
So presumably, I'm going to guess after that, he just took it to that facility, the underground facility from the first Avengers.
Okay.
From there on in.
Wait, so hold on. I'm confused because Captain Marvel has very much left my memory.
Right.
I really didn't dig it very much because apparently I'm a raging sexist.
Yep.
Because you're with us or you're against us.
Stop
right?
jerking off, Chris.
Yeah. Just staring you dead-eyed. So the Tesseract was melted out of the ship in Captain America, the second Avenger, and fell into the ice, and then was at some point going for the continuity of the movie, the timeline of the movie's releasing. The next time we saw it was in 2012 at a research facility for S.H.I.E.L.D. when Loki shows up.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah, when he
steals
opens the
it.
portal. Yeah.
Between that,
Yes.
the cat swallows it. What was its point in Captain Marvel? How did it play into the plot of Captain Marvel? How did the cat even swallow it?
So presumably after Howard Stark went down looking for Captain America, he found the Tesseract,
Yeah.
brought it back to S.H.I.E.L.D.
So in the 70s, it would have been in that where it was, where they found it.
And they found it in the movie.
Endgame.
So at some point in the 80s, Marvel got the Tesseract as a way of developing a hyper light speed engine. So that was like in the late 80s, early 90s.
So
if I remember.
is that shown in Captain Marvel?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, she gets a hold of it, and for some reason, it's sitting on a space station orbiting Earth with a bunch of Skrulls. It's been up there for like a decade or something at that point.
Okay.
It's not very clear. I know. I remember watching Captain Marvel, and the second it popped up on the space station, I'm like, that's such a rock in my shoe now. Like, what
Yeah.
what is it doing there?
How did it get there?
And-
Especially now that we know in the 70s it was safe and secure in Cap's home base.
I also love the idea that every single fucking scientist on this planet, where they're trying to make renewable energy, light speed engine, like a portal, they just take the Tesseract and jam it into some electric shit, shoot some
Done.
beams at it, and they're like, didn't like that.
Yeah.
Apparently it's not for that either. I wonder if we can we like turn it into like a dildo? Like, what do you do with it now?
That would probably be the only thing that could work for Captain Marvel. She is very powerful.
She's very powerful.
She's basically Superman, but if Superman flew around
Here's what she
promoting
does.
men's rights.
Here's what she does. She breaks down the fucking...
She flew through a ship again. That made me think
Oh,
of you.
that's 100%. 100%.
Sorry to interrupt, but that
Totally
made me
flew-
think of you.
Why me?
Because in the last podcast, you were like, "You're gonna fly through a fucking ship." Is that how you're gonna end the movie?
Flew through a fucking ship.
She flew through.
Fucking through the-
Really undermined Tony's sacrifice, considering she could have just flown around and killed everyone.
That's
but
one of my favorite moments in the movies when they're just like, you're probably not going to see me for a while. I'm like, why? Because you could literally
Yeah.
punch your way through every antagonist we're about to meet. Yeah.
She should
It's
have
okay.
just not been in the ending at all, because I get it was fan service to have her show up,
Yeah.
but then Tony didn't need to die. She could
know.
have just flown around and
Also, on the same note, you're going to build a gauntlet that you know fucker's going to put on. Put a bunch of every known poison in the
Right.
gauntlet, have a self-destruct on it, have
Yeah.
it like implode
Yeah.
so it breaks his arm off. I don't care.
Yeah.
Have bees come out of it, Tony. Like,
have
what
the
the fuck?
capacity to hold Infinity Stones. You should be able to put some needled poison in there.
Seriously.
Something.
Anyways,
It was a little silly.
that point aside.
Captain Marvel ruins everything, and not because she's a lady. It's because Superman ruins everything.
Yes,
in DC
exactly,
Comics.
exactly.
They're too powerful.
They could just literally fucking blink every problem out of
Right.
existence.
That's why Superman always gets hit with kryptonite. Always gets hit with kryptonite.
Well-
what's her kryptonite?
men.
Men.
It was. Thanos grabs her and throws her at
Yeah.
one point. And he fucking power gems her at one point.
Her kryptonite is male.
Male misogyny.
No, what is it? Toxic masculinity.
Toxic. It is.
Is her kryptonite.
Fucking is.
Oh man, if just had been if they just cast someone who could act, we wouldn't be so annoyed by her.
I did love the moment where Tony meets Howard.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, back at
That
the
was.
base.
I got us,
Yeah, you
baby.
got
Don't
it,
worry,
you got it.
baby. I
Get
got
us back
you.
on track.
That was one of my favorite moments of like. That's also one of the moments I was like, that dude just put the last nail in the coffin. He made closure with his father.
Yeah,
he's going to fucking die.
That's when I realized he was going to die. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah, because it was a callback to that thing in Civil War. It was like, this is the closest I got was this hologram.
Right.
He literally gets to fucking hug the dude. I was like, no,
He's not going to make it.
Yep, you have your story's done now,
Yeah.
sir. You can now leave.
That was the moment I realized too.
Yeah. It was a great scene, though. I love that one moment where he was like, I always thought my dad was kind of an asshole or was hard on me, but now I just realized he had my best interest in mind because he's had a kid now.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, you didn't need to fucking give me that really heartfelt moment between those two, but you did. And
You
I'm
needed
like,
to give it to Tony,
Yep.
especially if you're going to kill him.
yep,
Yeah.
I love that entire scene. And then
And-
they're getting really good with that de-aging shit.
Yeah, old. So the Captain America. Let's just veer off to that for a second. He saw Peggy's office, which, if I recall correctly, in one of the cutscenes, or there was mention at some point when he was looking her up in the future that she'd been married and had kids. So he really fucked that guy over.
Okay, I have a theory about that.
It's him.
Because it's
You
him
gotta change the name.
in that universe. I'm talking about old man him at the end.
Yeah.
That is one of the problems. I'm like, listen, it doesn't ruin the movie for me. And again, I get in this movie, they're like, time travel, we're bullshitting around here. We're just giving you satisfying imagery and stories. We don't care about the science, quote unquote.
Just to clarify too, Captain America's arc is that he goes back in time to replace all the gemstones and then stays there. Hooks up with Peggy and then shows up as an old man in the present time.
Because since Winter Soldier, the dude's just been trying to have a life. Like, from the moment he whips out that notepad, remember when he's trying to catch up to everything? He's like, the dude just never has time just to sit down and watch Star Wars.
Actually have a life.
Yeah.
So what was your theory?
So if he's been in that, let's call this timeline that we've watched is the MCU Prime.
His young self carry her casket at one point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which means that Captain America made out with his niece.
Oh. I didn't even think of that.
Because if they've been together this whole time, unless it's implicating, but the only other way out of this...
He probably fucked her, let's be honest.
The only other way out of this, Marvel... I'm just saying, unless you want to go down this road...
Is that when he goes back in time, he lands on her husband in a telephone booth.
Oh, please show me that scene in a post-credit sequence.
Sorry.
Is that I'm like old man Cap, 100-year-old Cap somehow portaled into their main timeline, or that wasn't Peggy, because it is kind of left open. He's like, who was that?
With Peggy at the end.
But maybe that's the Cap that left our timeline. The old man Cap that we see at the end could just be.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think it was heavily implied he went back and just banged Peggy for 80 years.
And then, like, he was like, oh, today's the day that... I gotta go and somehow stealth my way onto a government compound.
He's still a super soldier.
At 100? You think his knees are still holding up? He's carrying that fucking shield and shit?
Well, Captain America's supposed to live longer than that. That's one that was the nerd part of my brain. Was like, super soldier serum is supposed to keep him young for like hundreds of years. So that bugged me a little. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I do like the way they dressed him like skinny Steve Rogers. He had the same coat on and stuff.
He looked great. The makeup combined with CGI looked really great.
Really cool.
But I think secretly he's trying to get Falcon killed. Because Falcon is not a super soldier.
Oh, I was thinking about that today. I bet you the next movie starts with the fucking blue vials going into his arm.
Falcon? I hope so.
Which means Anthony Mackie's on a fucking bench press right now, working the fuck out to get as huge as Chris Evans.
That was destroyed though. Remember the Hydra killed the scientist who invented it. They've never trying to recreate the serum is what created the Hulk.
Didn't they have the serum at the? No, they didn't have it at the base in Civil War. It's.
They had the soap soldiers.
Someone will find another thing that will make Sam Wilson this. They'll give him a bigger bird suit. Like, I don't know.
He's gonna need some sort of shield or something. Maybe he'll have a Tony S. Iron Man, Captain America looking.
The CGI will figure out the science, Chris. Don't worry about it.
But I just picture him like Captain America leaps hundreds of feet onto airships, jumps out of planes without parachutes. I want to see him just be like, well, it's time to be Captain America.
Well, it just looks like the start of, what's it called, Winter Soldier, where he's just running. It's just one stationary shot, and I'm like, guys, wait.
He's got to find someone really slow to throw that on your left back into their face.
He throws the shield, it goes like 4 feet, he's like, God damn!
No, the gag has to be Fat Thor trying to run, and then Anthony Mackie going, on your left.
I did love that moment at the end, where you just have Thanos' military walking in, and you have Sam go on your... Hey, Cap, can you hear me? Our theater, when we on the Thursday night, when we saw Lost
everyone went nuts.
Shit, dude.
On Friday night, everyone went nuts.
Such a good moment.
Everyone went bananas for that scene. And then it became... They've fucked themselves, though. Because you can't get bigger than a Lord of the Rings sized battle. But they've even fucked themselves for like standalone movies. Because they're like, what do I care about this guy?
Yeah.
This random villain.
I think they gotta go cosmic with this one.
I'm guessing it's gonna be Galactus.
Yeah.
And, because they got Fox back.
That's true.
Right? They got the X-Men and Fantastic Four back.
One of those things like you can even hear that, like a Harrison Ford, it's bigger than the Death Star kind of line. Mm-hmm. Where they're just like, well, who's bigger than Thanos? Right. Cut to fucking Galactus kind of shit.
They already got Celestials in it because Nowhere is the head of a Celestial.
That's right. Yeah,
so
you're right.
I'm thinking it's gonna be... my biggest assumption would be Galactus.
That's a good bet. That's a good bet.
I'm trying to think who else, because I was just racking my brain for who else are giant cosmic Avengers threats.
You could introduce Silver Surfer doing that timeline. You can,
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's smart. That'd be the good segue in. They set him up as the next big bad because they're like, who else could have defeated Thanos' fucking army? He says Galactus.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
like
He eats planets, and they're not going to make him a stupid cloud like he was in...
shaped like Galactus. It's like, shit or get off the pot. Like
That was terrible.
It was so ridiculous.
Rise of the Silver Surfer. And he didn't really rise. But,
So, wait, what are we missing? Oh, Nebula turns. I did like how much this movie did focus on Nebula.
because young Nebula...
Yeah.
They when Nebula goes back in time, young Nebula at the time...
I love seeing how pathetically... Because, I don't think you ever really see her and Thanos together. In Guardians, she's kind of like, fuck you, Dad. But I
Yeah.
love in this one how she's, like, sickly subservient, like,
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to please him. You're like, oh, that's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, even Gamora's rolling her eyes, like, dude,
Yeah.
get up off the fucking floor.
And then she's just unceremoniously shot by her older self.
Yeah.
Just dead.
But I just love the visual poetry of that, of her being like, I don't need you anymore. I'm really
Yeah.
going to kill the old version of myself. Like, no, that's not right.
Wait, I just thought of something. A potential loophole.
Mm-hmm.
How many vials of Pym particles? They brought 4 to
Yeah.
Thanos?
Yeah.
No, to Thanos.
Hold
I
on.
thought he only got 1.
Yes.
So he could go back in time. How did Gamora get there? How did young...
They were all on the ship.
That was my other question. Does that 1 vial transport a city-sized ship? Or I thought he was using his ship from... after the snapping, his army would still exist. He went and retired to a planet, but his army would have still been standing. I thought young Thanos was using old Thanos' army.
No, you see him on the same ship a couple times.
That's his ship.
Young Thanos has the same ship.
So I thought that young Thanos was transported forward in time, and then he just hermit crabbed into old Thanos' ship, which is the same ship, but 6 years in the future.
No, I think that's still the same one.
So that 1 vial of Pym particles was able to transport a city-sized...
Apparently. And that's another thing I really bumped up against the second time I watched it, because it comes screaming through the ceiling. And I'm like, wait a minute, you had to build a suit for each individual person and that little fucking carbon freezing chamber thing to drop y'all in to go into the quantum realm. Thanos has a vial and a gigantic ship, and he's like, I got this.
Yeah.
No, I got this.
That's why I thought it was just him that came back. That's why I was confused that Gamora was there. Because Nebula was always
have a stroke.
Yeah, I think
You
it
all right?
did. My ears ringing a little. She was already there, so I was like, how did Gamora get there? That confused me, and I honestly assumed he just moved into the ship that was already in orbit.
Nebula is on our Nebula.
Right, yeah,
Good
I know
Nebula
she
is on what's it called? What's the name of the planet from Guardians 1?
Oh.
And she gets the one where they get the orb.
Yeah.
She gets sucked up in the pod onto Thanos' ship. So they're all on that thing when it pops through time.
Young her uses her
little plate thing.
Wait, no, because I guess they used her Pym particles. They used old Nebula's Pym particle.
Yep.
So then how did young Nebula get back in time before Thanos got there to allow Thanos to get there?
Wait, you're right.
Right?
You're right. Because wait a minute, yeah, because Nebula hands him a vial when she shows him like she just got the gold thing, but she still would have needed one to get to the present.
Yeah.
So what if? Oh, I remember now. Now I remember. It's a little weak. She takes her fingers and pops them out and puts them into the keyboard and does some shit that somehow gets Thanos' ships through.
Oh, I do remember that now too.
Yeah, I remember that. That's another thing I bumped up against the second time. Like that's how you get a big ending where everyone walks through a portal.
Yeah.
Is Nebula does some sci-fi crap.
I have a feeling that we've just actually recreated the writer's room conversation. Like, well, how did she get... I don't know, stick her fingers in the fucking thing. Move on.
It's really glossed over.
That
Because
is.
they're juxtaposing at the same time. Bruce is putting the glove on for the first time. There is that great moment I love where he's on his back and it's dead silent. And a shadow falls over his face, and he opens his eyes just in time to see a missile silently screaming towards the base.
And in Avengers, what was it, Compound?
Yeah.
Was it just called the Avengers Compound?
Yeah.
It was obliterated. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Tony sold the tower. I'm assuming that's going to be the Baxter building now.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
So the Avengers are done.
I would, well, they have to rebuild. I bet you that's going to be the whole next one is they have to rebuild the idea of the Avengers because Galactus is coming.
I guarantee it's going to be the new Avengers. It's going to be the next Avengers film in 5 years.
Another thing that bugged the shit out of me in that sequence, we see Rocket go underground, and I'm assuming Rhodey's legs go inoperative because the lights aren't on anymore, and he can't move. He's like, rolling around trying to save Rocket with a crowbar. Last time we see them, water's filling up to their faces, and they're like, "This is the end, buddy." Next time we see them, Giant Man punches through the wreckage of the building, and they just fly out.
Yeah.
Rhodey's in this badass new suit. I guess we're to assume they swam underwater and found his suit.
One was in the basement.
Does Rhodey have like the nanotech too? Like,
No, he doesn't. And it's all Rhodey got double fucked because Tony didn't give him the nanotech, and in 5 years, no one from Wakanda bothered to fix him.
his fucking legs. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
no one bothered to fix his legs.
Help a brother out,
Right?
like quite literally.
I'm crippled. You can fix me in 2 seconds.
You literally gave that guy an entire vibranium arm.
What's the sister's name?
Shuri.
Shuri? It's
Yeah.
not like it was her specifically who was able to do it. She was just using the technology that was already there
Yeah.
to fix Bilbo Baggins' shot spine. So what the hell? Oh, as an aside, I found I should have bought it and I regret it, but I found a Martin Freeman as whoever he is, Black Panther toy. But it's just Martin Freeman.
Everett Ross.
Yeah, Everett Ross.
yeah,
But it's just Martin Freeman.
with a badge.
Yeah. No, he's just in a suit. He doesn't even have the badge.
Even
and
better.
I was like, oh, I want this so bad just to have a Martin Freeman doll.
That's pretty funny.
It's like the Lex Luthor doll from Batman v Superman.
That's just fucking Jesse Eisenberg.
I bought that because they were on sale for $2
Bald or with hair?
with hair. So it looks like American Ultra Jesse Eisenberg. So I have 2 American Ultra Jesse Eisenberg action figures.
So unnerving.
Yeah.
You break into anyone's house and they have just those on
2
their
of them?
shelves, you leave. That man's a psychopath.
No, it was brilliant because they were always like $25. I'm like, who's gonna buy a Jesse Eisenberg? And then one day I went to Walmart and they were like 2 for $5. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Some manager walked by, like, I am sick of fucking looking at this clown. Get this out of here.
There was always a wall of them at Walmart's toy section.
Who licenses that toy? You know, it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg.
Not since
Justice
Heath
League.
Ledger's Joker has a film been this hot.
Oh my god. Oh, now I'm thinking about that movie. Let's get back to it.
Back to fucking. So in Endgame, that fight between, I love that seeing the main 3 square off against Thanos. I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Oh, before we get to the climax, I do want to mention, I forgot to mention my favorite scene in the whole movie was just Hulk handing the tacos to Ant-Man.
We glossed over the taco scene.
glossed over the taco
That
scene.
is one of my favorite parts.
Ant-Man's trying to eat a taco and the ship's landing, so it blows out of his hand, and then Hulk just wanders by, smiles at him, hands him some tacos, and walks on by.
I love that whole sequence of just a day in the life on the Avengers compound.
Yeah.
Like, I love Nebula's like, Rhodey, careful on landing. There's an idiot in the landing zone, and he's just
Hey, regular sized man.
he's still a little bitter because like you turned gigantic and threw me. You fuck.
Didn't vision my spine, but you did throw me around a little.
Wakanda, hello.
Yeah, hello, anyone? Did you all get wiped out in the snap?
Damn it.
But the whole okay, and we got to touch on the elephant in the room, which I mentioned outside, is the like really forced girl power moment where every female hero teamed up, and my counterpoint to it was, which I think you agreed with,
100%,
was everyone's cheering for that scene, and again we're living in the age of Siths, of you're either with me or you're my enemy. So to criticize it at all means I'm going to like immediately be hated. But imagine if it was all the black characters from the MCU or all the Chinese characters from the MCU. People would be furious. But it was so heavy-handed. It was like, see, we're virtue signaling. See, we're
I guess
good.
the
We like
argument
women.
would be made that like, oh no, but like it wasn't a race thing; it's a gender thing. But I'm just like, it's
Separate but equal.
It felt it just was so ham-fisted. Again, if it wasn't just coming out like weeks after Captain Marvel,
Right.
It would have been a little less like blatant. But just again, it was a little too much. Just
Because Captain Marvel was 2 hours of that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I listen. I'm not trying to be like I don't because I know I can.
Captain
already hear
Marvel
people
was
being
written
like,
by a man.
Exactly. I like just the idea of like. Again, it's in these movies written by guys. It really did feel like, and then all the ladies get
Yeah.
together, and I'm like, come on,
That's not
subtlety.
progressive.
It's
That's-
not progressive.
That's just showboating.
You could just give them all their own individual cool thing to fucking do.
Yeah,
You know,
or multiple dimensions to their characters.
yeah,
That could work too.
For fuck's sakes, yep.
So that really, it didn't like annoy. I wasn't like, oh, angry at it. It just stood out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels so virtue signaling.
A little bit.
This is because they're realizing that women spend as much money at the theater as men do.
Yep.
And they got to start getting everyone for
And
$3 billion
They
movies.
sat on it for I don't know 10 years, 22 movies didn't put a female lead in, and now they're like, no, look, we love female. Look
Yeah.
how many movies you can watch now.
If none of you had said anything, they wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
But
Yeah. If people hadn't gotten pissed off, we wouldn't be doing this huge, like, look, we're okay now, where it's fine.
you don't see any Black Widow movies anytime soon.
Give me my fucking Shuri movie, we'll talk. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying? Like, for fuck's sakes. Or my,
Yeah.
oh, dude, Valkyrie, I've said before, I'll say it again, Valkyrie, Okoye, Shuri. And
So
they
there's
just
like
tour
a-
around the galaxy, just taking names and fucking kicking ass.
Would you do like a thriller, like a heist type thing again, or would you do like a balls to the wall?
I would do
action
like
movie?
I would start it with a villain fucking three
Sorry,
of them.
flaps to the wall action movie.
I would do it like a, what do you call it? Where a villain fucks the three of them over somehow.
Okay.
And they're like, it's like
They gotta team up.
It's like Charlie's Angels, but with Marvel cinematic superheroes.
Can Loki be Bosley?
Oh, sure. I'm trying. I think Thor would fit into the Bosley role. Actually,
Just all chubby.
Yeah.
I hope they get him fatter. I hope they don't have hot Thor again. From now, if he's even coming back, I hope they keep him large and in charge.
Yeah, Fat Thor is fantastic. Eat a salad, dear. Try to eat a salad.
He's 1,000 years old. It took him 5 years to gain that much weight. It's pretty impressive.
But yeah, I mean, for all like the fucking hoops that movie had to jump through to give me that shot of literally the entire MCU coming through portals, just like a curtain call. They all kind of flex for the camera and shit. I like, we all knew that moment was coming. The second we all snap at his existence, we all knew that moment was going to happen. But seeing it happen,
It was pretty great.
it was fucking great. I'm like, they made this magic trick work so hard. Like, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and now I'm done with Marvel for
Yeah.
a while.
Oh, I agree. Like, I
I wonder
agree.
if they're anticipating that because they're thinking like Spider-Man's next, and now they've changed it. They've said he's now the climax of Phase 3, is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
Whereas up until 2 weeks ago, they were saying he was the introduction to Phase 4. So I think they might be starting to realize that every commentator is saying, "I think I'm done with Marvel for a while."
Yeah.
So no, it's not over yet.
Like, I think they're also looking over at like Camp Star Wars with like, we have to pump the brakes just a little bit on these movies. We've been cranking out 3-4 years.
A year, yeah.
So it's like, let's come up with like some, I don't know, some good content. Maybe structure a fucking narrative before we start announcing these flicks now.
Well, Marvel's holding off announcing because they didn't want to give away spoilers for who lived and who died. But apparently there's a Disney Con or something in June, and that's when they're going to lay out the next like 3 to 5 years of movies.
I hope they have a good, more solid plan than fucking Ryan Johnson subvert everyone's expectations. I'm sorry, I can't. I'll beat that dead. I'm sorry.
I really hope.
Choking on my own rage.
It tastes so good though.
So tasty.
It's like strawberry shortcake. Knowing how the industry works though, it's going to take, because they weren't legally allowed to start any kind of pre-production on anything to do with Fox's licensed characters until the acquisition happened.
Okay.
That only happened a few months ago officially, finally. So we're
I think
looking
Feige
like
said, like, don't expect any
3 to
Fox.
5 years,
Yeah.
to get it all sorted. Pre-production, post-production.
Yeah.
So that's like Disney's timing seems to always be off, because if Disney's streaming service had started 4 years ago, then we would have had every 3 years between episodes and Star Wars mostly on TV, which makes sense since it's based on old serials anyways.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have drowned the franchise, and this is a little awkward too, because it's like you now have 5 years you have to do something. But what are you going to do until your awesome characters kick in?
Which brings me to my next point.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that movie, when all shit's said and done, Thanos' army's wiped out, the world is still... We saw the state of it whenever Scott Lang was walking around. Like, when
it's
half
so
the
fucked.
It's all fucked. So I was thinking about that. Like, do they just use that 5-year grace period to just trickle out a movie here and there to be like the road to recovery, or like to slowly be
Maybe.
like to distance themselves of like... Because how do you can't just like announce a movie next year and we start the plot with like, no, everything's fine. Half the population disappeared for 5 years and
Everything's fine in
everything's...
Spider-Man Homecoming by the looks of it.
Is it? See, that would be
I guess
great.
judging by the trailer, it looks like everything's fine.
Well, they're in Europe. It always looks pretty there.
True.
When you'll see, when they're in Manhattan, it's just
just
like,
fucked.
oh, it's just garbage flaming everywhere.
They did say they're kind of abandoning the sequential movies now. There's been mention that I think Kevin Feige has said they're going to start jumping all over the place.
Well, I bet you, because like if they want,
timeline-wise.
I'm guessing they're going to space, because space is easy to film. You need like 1 or 2 sets, some green screen, and the CGI
Good
space
to go,
battle.
yeah.
You're good to go. Like Captain Marvel, a lot of the times I felt was really claustrophobic, and I'm like, I can see why you did this. It's really cost effective and easy to make sci-fi.
It was claustrophobic.
Very claustrophobic.
It really was.
I can see them going that way. Like, we're going to start spacing out the timelines and jumping around, because we can't confine ourselves to this singular line of going, and then this happened, and then this happened. We're going
Spider-Man still stands out like a sore thumb, especially after this movie.
right?
The 8 years later thing makes 0 sense now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I know. I mean, you got anything else?
That's it. I mean, and then it gets to the end. Tony Stark has a pretty great death scene. He gets to say, "I am I." So how it goes, I think we're probably running long here, but we are talking about a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, right?
He grabs the... Thanos is about to snap, and he says, "I am inevitable," and he snaps. Right before that, Tony grabs the gauntlet and then just gets thrown away. And in that moment, his suit was able to grab the stones out of the gauntlet, and then he
As they slowly, like that shot of them, like, Thanos could easily charge over, then clock him out in the time it takes him to say it.
Just get the shot of the stones all going up into the hand.
So worth it.
I am Iron Man.
And just giving the dude of like, because that snap became such a cultural phenomenon. Just giving that dude a moment of like, you started this, sir, and here you shall end it. It was such a, I loved that moment.
Yeah,
you know?
and I loved through design or necessity, because they desperately wanted his final line, even though he does sort of whisper pepper a little bit when he's dying. But
that could just be the synapses in his brain firing, because he's got gamma radiation all up in him.
Agreed. But they really wanted to keep his line, "I am Iron Man," as his last line. So he's just brain dead after he does the snap, and I love that.
Now that I think about it, looks remarkably similar to the way he does whenever he gets paralyzed by Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
In the first,
the lines go up.
Someone's already done a side-by-side comparison of whenever Jeff Bridges is holding his head and Thanos holding his head in Infinity War, and I'll be damned if
that's just how Robert Downey Jr. acts, having his head.
Well, and also having big bald dudes loom over him.
Yeah.
There's a similar one. Someone pointed out the way Black Widow is laying dead in the pile.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's pretty impressive. Like someone was paying attention, you know.
And that's it, pretty much. Like, Tony dies, he has a great death scene, and then it's his funeral. Fuck Black Widow, she also died, but she doesn't get a big funeral.
No, but Bruce threw a bench in the lake for her. That was good enough.
And then everyone's standing around respecting Tony Stark, and there's one quick line of Hawkeye being like, "Wish she was here, knew we won." And then, who is it, Scarlet Witch, is like, her Russian accent's just gone now.
Yes, it's been slowly disappearing.
She Halle Berry'd it.
She's hanging out with Paul Bettany. He's all
just
British.
She was kind of embarrassed by it, just losing it. And she says no. She knows somehow, which maybe I think
they both know.
Might have been a hint, because there is a Black Widow TV series coming out, so they're gonna have to explain that somehow.
Right.
And then
she says they both know. Who's you sure if you think talking about her brother or Tony?
I assume Tony, but there are a lot of people dead. Vision? Was she talking about Vision?
Oh, shit. I didn't think it could have been Vision, yeah.
Could have been.
That's true.
I don't know, he's also back again. So all these deaths
Vision
extra mean nothing. No, in the TV show. WandaVision.
Oh, you're right.
Whatever.
I guess he is just a robot. They can just...
It's still so under... It kind of... I don't know.
It undermines the death 100%, but, like, come on. You gotta make money here, Carson.
Right. I imagine Marvel's not thrilled with Disney fucking white trash winning the lottery and their characters.
And, all of them, yeah.
But that's it. We already talked about Cap going through time, an old man, and then it cuts to black after he's dancing with Peggy.
Yep.
No end credit scenes, except there was like a chung, chung, like hammering metal sound.
Yeah.
At the very end. So I don't know if that was them like rebuilding the Marvel universe or what that was intended.
It's kind of oddly obscure that. I don't know. I'm not very creative, so I was like, it's everything whenever I remember. Let's do it in the cave.
Oh yeah.
But when I heard, that's what I assumed it was when I first heard it. But when I listened to it, I'm like, it's not the same Foley. You could easily take the exact same. It. Yeah. So why did they?
When I first heard it, I thought that was just then a wink that they're rebuilding their universe now. That it ended, but now they're fixing it back up.
Okay.
Or it could be they didn't want to undermine the drama of it all coming to an end with an end credit scene, but they still wanted to tease something.
I really just wanted them to go get shawarma one more time.
One last time.
Oh, how I really like the tribute to Favreau they gave him at the end with his daughter, where he's like, what do you want? Cheeseburgers? Like, your dad loved cheeseburgers. And he just goes, I'm going to get you all the cheeseburgers.
That was cut to her like 300 pounds covered in zits.
And covered in Burger King wrappers.
That's such a funny thing when you like take a step back and look at that moment, because the only reason Tony Stark likes cheeseburgers is because Burger King paid to have their product in the movie.
Yep.
So it's such an odd incestual thing.
I think it might have been a little self-referential too, of like we're not because they could easily been like, I got some cheeseburgers right here, and you could have pulled out a Burger King bag.
Here you go, little lady. Your dad's favorite, the double down fucking sandwich or whatever.
But like maybe because of all the moments they could have referenced from that movie,
The cheeseburger.
that line, I felt that was Favreau being like, wasn't that ridiculous? I had to put a fucking cheeseburger in my movie.
I want an American cheeseburger. Yeah.
That burger got this franchise off the fucking ground. Like,
You kind of did. And that was it.
That's it.
I wasn't head over heels with it. People are like going crazy about it. I don't understand that. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like, oh my god, leaving the theater, dropping to my knees, holding my head kind of thing.
Sure.
But people are crazy now. So
And also, like, they're responding to the hype around this thing.
Around
like,
it.
Fandango fucking crashed. It's already performed, blah, blah, blah. So they go in with their anticipations here.
usually that makes the movie worse, generally, to a human psychology.
You should have seen the group of fellas sitting next to us whenever we went. Like, you would have thought we were in their living room. Like, yo, he's got two hammers now? Oh, bro, and that's their market they're appealing to, is these guys who are like play a lot of fucking Fortnite and get really hyped up.
I
like,
forgot adults don't exist anymore.
my apologies to the listeners for deafening them with my fucking Scarborough bro impression too.
And I apologize for calling everyone children, but I mean, I'm in the group too, I guess.
I mean, we did pay to see this fucking movie, one of us twice,
We
so.
did, yeah. But, yeah, really good, I think.
I enjoyed it, man. I can't wait to marathon the two of them as like one 5-hour epic. I think
that'll be interesting.
They'll go really well together.
But,
So good.
What are we doing next? What do you want to do? Maybe we could.
Can I hear your quick rundown of what you thought of the fucking Rise of Skywalker trailer?
Oh, I don't care.
I know, that's what I wanted.
That's the thing. I literally, if you'd filmed me watching it, it would have just been straight face and like, okay, it's over. I don't. Okay.
Carson texted me. He's like, Palpatine's it, and I got so mad. I was like,
so mad.
I was so mad.
I was talking to so many people about it. I didn't even think.
And I was just like, I can't remember. I was at work, and you texted me, and I was just like, or you could just not tell me what's in the trailer that I haven't seen. And then
I was honestly a little surprised when that
Because
you were upset. 'Cause
I was wondering-
I didn't think we cared about Star Wars anymore.
It was more so like I was wondering how they were going to reveal it, because of course after you sent me that, I jumped on Instagram and there were no pictures.
It's just a
So I was
laugh.
like, what the fuck? Like, do they show him how does everyone know he's in the movie?
Yeah.
But there's no reveal. So when I saw the laugh, I heard the laugh, I was more so like, okay, well, he didn't really like ruin a shot or anything.
No, it was
he
just
ruined
a
a giggle. Yeah, I was like, oh,
Might be the Emperor.
right now.
Or
When Ian
Clone or
McDermott
something.
walked out at the fucking
Yeah,
celebration.
he came out right after the trailer.
Anyone who listens to this already knows my opinion.
But my opinion is I'm just done with Star Wars. They're going to have, like, J.J. Abrams is a talented guy. I'm predicting my review right now is going to be, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
Oh.
I didn't hate it. The same as Force Awakens.
Yes, same. No, and that's actually tangents off what we were saying, because I thought this movie, Endgame, surprisingly kind of gave me hope for Episode 9. The sense of like, all you got to do is end it. This is your victory lap. Bring back the Death Star and the Emperor.
Another fucking Death Star.
Iris out and fucking roll John Williams. That's all you have to do.
I do like it does feel like a giant fuck you to Last Jedi.
It totally is. I kind of respect it for that.
I do a little bit too, because the whole thing of like no one ever dies, and like but wasn't the whole thing the last movie that anyways.
Whenever they cut to him welding the helmet together in the teaser, he's not even saving. He's putting it right on Front Street. Like,
Yep.
fuck you for
Yep.
breaking my toys.
Yep.
Like, I am putting them back together.
Well, he seemed a little pissy because I watched clips of that celebration thing because I was curious to when the trailer would be announced.
Yeah.
And he seemed a little like he was being very cordial about it, but he seemed a little pissy, J.J. Abrams, of being like,
Wouldn't you be?
yeah,
If like,
I had a plan, I gave it, he didn't follow it,
Yeah.
so now we're gonna have to fix it.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't like I have to add to what he did. It's like no, I have
We
to
gotta
fix it.
fix this shit. It should just start with Rey waking up from a dream.
Dallas style.
Yeah, and
she's on.
handing the lightsaber.
She's on the fucking planet with Luke. He's like, dude, wake up.
Yeah,
like, hello.
Thank you for the lightsaber. This means a lot to me. Let's train you as a Jedi.
Let's go fight the Empire.
Yeah. We're gonna show up with a laser sword.
Did someone say Empire? Han!
I'm alive now too.
And it's me, Carrie Fisher.
It's just a CGI face.
Faded dialogue all stitched together. I missed you guys so much.
You guys are great. But it's young Carrie Fisher dialogue and old Carrie Fisher dialogue. So it just bounces back and
The
forth.
fans are like running out of the theater holding their heads. That was epic!
I'm so happy to see you guys. Snoke stole our son.
Well, let's go get him back. Billy D's here too.
All right, let's wrap this fucker up. We'll be back probably for maybe Batman 30th.
There's something in the pipeline. I know there's a movie coming up. If not, we'll figure
Figure it out. It's the summer season. A lot of stuff coming out.
It's the summer.
I introed. Care to take the oh my god, I'm losing fucking words. I'm so
Yeah,
tired.
I will take the outro.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. Tune in next time for another episode of Space Action Podcast.
Woo.
I love you 3000.
Aww.